Hey everyone, it's Karen and I'm just here with a quick video to show my new favorite way to assemble both the bitty ball and the surprise ball. So these have been out for a couple years now. I've had lots of time to practice and I've started just putting 2 rubber bands in each ball and then doing a little bit of extra reinforcing. So I wanted to show that in the video today, and I kind of wanted to show you the difference over time. So here's a project that's been flattened for a long time, so I don't even know what's going to happen when I open it. It used the surprise ball with just a single rubber band. Okay, let's see. Oh, hey, not too shabby. At least it pops up, so that's pretty good. It doesn't even have that many gaps. I'm somewhat impressed with this. If you've ever had one that's been flattened for a long time with a single rubber band in it, then typically when you open it, it might just sort of lethargically, come up. Now, the good news is, as long as your rubber band isn't broken, if it's in there and it still has some spring, you can leave that open on the counter for a couple hours, and when you come back to it, all of those gaps will be gone. It'll get all tight again. Or if you want to kind of make that go a little faster, you can even kind of put a rubber band around it like that. Leave it open on the counter for a while. So that's what you do if you wanted to make them ahead and then you wanted to mail them. You could do that. But lately I've been making them out of this wonderful, 100-pound cardstock, and then putting some extra reinforcing on the inside, and then that allows me to put 2 rubber bands per ball. So here's one that I taught in September, and I think it's been flattened since class day. So let's just see how this is one with my new method. I mean, see, y'all, not nearly, look, barely any gaps at all, and this has just been flattened for, a month and a half. So it just has such lovely spring when you use the 2 rubber bands, and it seems to be a combination of using the right rubber bands, which for me are the Alliance Pale Crepe Gold number 12. Those are my favorite. You can get a smaller box than this. This is the bigger box. Love these. These are great for both balls. Putting 2 per ball, 2 rubber bands, and then also using that 100-pound smooth cardstock. I like the stuff from the paper cuts that we offer in our exact packs. But you could try other 100-pound or 110-pound smooth, and you probably get similar results, but I love this cardstock for the ball. Okay, so this has just been sitting out on the counter then overnight, actually, because I just filmed that intro yesterday and then went and watched TV and went to bed. So it's got the rubber band on it, and then see, when I take that off, all those gaps that you saw last night, they're gone. I can feel the spring of that has returned. So even if you've used, just 1 rubber band and you've had it flattened for a really long time, just before you go to mail your card, just open it and let it sit out overnight with or without a rubber band around it to kind of really help it learn, to lose the gaps. Now let's look at this one. So this one also, I went to bed last night. I've just left it, this is the one that has 2 rubber bands in each ball. And I did close this one up. So let's see if we still have good spring this morning. And we do. Yeah. So 2 rubber bands and that 100-pound cardstock with the extra little reinforcing in the middle is just sort of the best formula for both a really tight spring when you first open it, but then also the spring seems to last better. In the closed position, it maintains its spring a little bit better. Okay, so to demonstrate, I wanted to demonstrate with both balls. So I'll use the bitty ball, the smaller one, for the head, and then the surprise ball for the body, just so I can show the assembly of both. But you could certainly make your stacked animal with just 2 of the bitty balls together. And I thought I would make a bear today. So the bear, the dog, and the chick, you can actually make just with the pieces in the bitty ball. You don't even need an animal add-on set for that. We do have an exact pack on the website that is geared towards those 3 animals, so it's exact pack number 4. Okay, so just pulling out the color that I want to use for the balls out of the exact pack, I decided to do the lighter brown for the body and the head, and then I'll do the darker brown for the decorator pieces that go on it. Okay, so using the exact packs, they're 6x6 squares, and so when I cut a half of the ball, I also want to cut 2 of the decorator trapezoids that go with that ball. So this one's the bitty, plenty of room. In fact, if you go up in a corner, you'll even have room down here for more of the decorator trapezoids for a future project. The surprise ball, it pretty much fills the 6x6, but if you're kind of clever in how you twist it, you have room to get 2 of the decorator trapezoids on with that 6x6 and the surprise ball as well. So I'm going to cut these both and then going to repeat it for the second sheet. Okay, so now I have 2 ball halves and 4 trapezoids for each ball. So my first thing is, of course, get any paper that's stuck in the piece out, if any of the little triangles or circles have holes in them. And then when you're looking, the important thing about either of the balls is that you start from two identical pieces, which means that you should be looking at the side where you can see the score lines easily. And if you line them up right over the top of each other, absolutely everything lines up. They have to be identical when you start. You can't have one flipped over or else it won't work right. So you have to have them identical, okay? And then what you do is you just go around and you take those little triangle tabs and you fold them to the back. And that's one thing that you'll notice using this 100-pound cardstock is it just has such a crisp, nice fold. You know, you can feel the folds on that being really nice. And as you fold those triangle tabs in, what we want to do is we actually want to shellac them down so that they will make this side of the ball, which holds the rubber band, be a little bit stronger. My favorite is glue. I use my LINECO neutral pH adhesive in my fine tip bottle now. I haven't squirted my paper towel yet this morning. I forgot to do that. I do that every morning so that they'll stay flowing really nicely. And of course you have the little plungers. If I ever forget to squirt my paper towel and I have to, you know, get some paper towel got sucked up in the end or something, I can use the needle tip to get them unstuck. But if you're crafting every day and you remember to always come in the morning and squirt your paper towel with your water, then your glue will just stay nice and flowing. And that's just a wee yogurt jar. In fact, they have some new ones. They have some new ones. I just got this one from the grocery store. Isn't that pretty? Anyway, okay, and the yogurt's good too. Okay, so let's shellac these things down. So when I say shellac, I mean put your adhesive all over it so that it is now you're not just daintily in the corners or anything. Alrighty. Do all four. Okay. And then you just want to hold those, you know, until they set up. Okay. Now, here's where the assembly differs a little bit from the other assembly videos. Normally, then you would just start working all your folds, you know, around the ball, and you'd carry on with your assembly. Oops. Going kind of fast. All right, but in this case, since we're going to add two rubber bands in here, I want to make this side even stronger, and that's what the decorator trapezoids are for. I'm going to glue one of those inside the ball over the top of those two sides to really reinforce them. And what I want to do is, once again, kind of shellac this with adhesive. Okay. Not just daintily in the corners, but we want that to be kind of shellacked to the piece. And then rather than center it, I really want to start right at the bottom fold where it lines up with the hexagon on the bottom, or top, I guess, whichever side of the ball this is. And what that does is it's going to give a little extra reinforcing to this section right here. See how this doesn't come all the way to the fold, just because, you know, how it had to be made. So by adding your trapezoid to come all the way to the fold, then you're adding some extra reinforcing in that area right now, which is technically just a single, you know, width of cardstock. So this will make that a double, and it'll make the rest of it kind of a triple. So wonderful, wonderful reinforcing for when you're putting two rubber bands inside your balls. Okay, so starting right at the fold, not crossing the fold, we still got to be able to fold it up. But just at the fold, add that decorator trapezoid. So that's that's inside the ball, so you're never going to see it. I usually just do it out of the same color as the ball, but it really wouldn't even matter. Just if you just had some leftover scraps of the 100 pounds sitting around, you could just cut those, you know, out of whatever color. Okay, so now I'm going to get the other three into this exact, you know, spot, and then I'll continue on with the assembly. Okay, I'm down to my last surprise ball. I've folded in the flaps and put my decorator trapezoids on, lined up with the bottom fold there. And then I kind of did the other one really fast, so I thought I would show on this one that once you have your reinforcing done on the inside, then you turn it back over again to the outside of the ball, and then you just work all of the folds sort of away from yourself, finger folds. So out on the ends, there's either half tabs or full tabs. And then at the bottom, you've already worked a couple of them to figure out where to start the trapezoids, but then basically you just work all those folds. And that creates half of the ball. So then that, you know, as you can imagine, is going to attach to that to make the full surprise ball. Same thing with the smaller one, the bitty ball. Okay, so here's what I do from here. Now I've got my nice reinforced ball halves. And then what I want to do is connect one of the sides that has the hole in the cut. That one still has paper in it. Let me get that out. Okay, so this is what's going to hold the rubber band. And so you want to glue one of these sides together, but you have to pay attention that you've chosen two sides that when you kiss connection them, both the hole and the cut line up. And you can see that these two are opposite. So that means on one, but not both, I need to turn it around. And then you'll see that both the hole and the cut will line up when you connect them together as a kiss connection. So once again, don't spare your adhesive. You want to shellac these to each other. So just the adhesive all over, like this. And then, however it's easiest, I tend to do a thing where I look inside and make sure that all the corners, you know, here, here, and here line up. But then I like to kind of work from the outside, sort of like press like this. I'm kind of pressing it to one side or the other, maybe even both, like this, so that I get a really good connection all the way out to the end right here. So that's really, and you know, I want to make sure that those are nice and straight. So the straighter that you make your connections, the better, you know, the pop-up that you'll get. So try not to be too crooked on those. So then I stop here with a ball, because then now I'm going to decorate it before I finish the assembly. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the surprise ball. I look for a side that has a hole and a cut. I find one on the other side and I sit them next to each other. I realize that I don't have mirror images here, so I have to take one and flip it around the other way until I have mirror image, and then add my adhesive. So you've got the pieces that come in the set, both the decorator trapezoids to go on each side. Okay, you get 6 of those, and then you have a hexagon to go on the top. So I'm going to use that darker brown color, and I'm going to decorate all of these with those pieces. Okay, let me teach you a really great trick for using these trapezoids as a single die, especially when you want to assembly line a whole bunch of animals, or honestly, I just keep them like this in the set now. And what this is my 6 bitty ball trapezoids put together in the most paper-friendly way, right? Just put together like a puzzle, so as close as I can get them, and then put on just a piece of printer weight paper with temporary tape, and then that way they will act as a single die. So let me show you that here with the ones for the surprise ball. So this is just printer paper, just a scrap of printer paper. I've laid them out in the most, you know, paper-friendly way. And then I'm taking my temporary tape. That could be washi tape. I use the Blue Box Scotch removable tape is my favorite. And the trick here is that you want to tape the die set down to the paper on the outside, so basically around the perimeter, and not have any tape in the centers of the trapezoids, because then it's much easier to eject your paper. Okay, so it's going to get easier as I get it taped down here. But I want, you know, whatever tape I'm using on the outside, I only want to go up onto the die itself and not into the center. Okay, so I'm just going to go all the way around the perimeter with my tape, taping those dies down into that set. So that'll save you always having to line them up onto your paper too, you know, because you know how it is, sometimes they slide a little bit or whatever. Okay, so I have gone all the way around the perimeter with my tape. And then one last thing is they're a little, you know, loosey-goosey in the center. So I would like to tape them to each other, but again, I don't want any tape into the center where I'm going to try to eject the paper, because it'll stick to the paper. So I'm going to peel a piece of tape and basically pull it in half, so that in the center I'm only taping the dies to each other and not down into the paper at all. So I just have a thin piece of tape right here. Okay, now I'm going to trim this down using my scissors that have disappeared. Sorry, here they are. Okay, so I have to leave a little paper on the outside, because otherwise I'll just, you know, take all my tape off, which is holding those dies on. So I do have to leave myself a little perimeter because of the tape. Okay, but not too much, you know, you can go relatively close to things. All right, then, first time through your machine, just do it without any paper underneath it, so that you can remove the paper on the inside. All right, so see, that paper's all going to just fall right out of there because you don't have any tape on the inside of those dies. So that's going to make it really easy then to use with paper. And there I've made myself basically a connected die for trapezoids for the surprise ball. Okay, so here's my darker brown paper that I want to use for my trapezoids. Now remember, I've got that extra tape, so I can have the tape. Well, I can't though, because I'm doing a 6-incher here, so I guess I'm going to have to lose a little bit of paper. But I can put these side by side, see, and get 12. Well, and actually, probably not the 100-pound. Sorry, this is hard to get through my machine, and my machine squeaks a lot. Probably not the 100-pound, because you go through 2 layers, but if you were using a lighter weight decorator cardstock, you could even double up the paper, and then you could get all the trapezoids that you need for both balls at one time. Alrighty, so now I have all the pieces I need. I'm just going to go around and add them centered, you know, onto each panel. Okay, finished all of the decorating panels on both of the, you know, halves of the ball, for a surprise ball and for the bitty ball. All right, so now I'm ready to assemble these together. Now I'm going to use the surprise ball on the bottom since it's a little bit bigger, but if I want it to spin around in my card on a brad, then I need to add that brad now. So picking whichever side I want to be the bottom. I don't think there's any difference here. I don't see any noticeable glue goobers or anything that I would want, you know, to make sure I had in a certain spot. So I want to pierce the hole back in since I covered it with that decorator panel, and then put a brad through from the inside of the ball. Okay, so now I've determined what is going to be the very bottom of my bear. It's going to be right there. Okay, so then inside, I'm using these pale crepe gold rubber bands. I buy them on Amazon. Size number 12 seems to be the best. The most important thing is that you choose the ones that say softest stretch. If you tried to do a number 12 rubber band that was like a typical rubber band that wasn't loose like this, it would be way too tight. But these 2 number 12 soft stretch seems to work great for both the surprise ball and the bitty ball if you've used the 100-pound cardstock smooth and you've also added your decorator inside. So I'm going to take 2 rubber bands, slide them into the hole that's connected, okay, so that they're just hanging out of that hole. All right, now I'm going to connect around to the other side until I get over here, and then I can stretch the rubber band through those holes. So to do that, I need to pay attention to which side has the cut, okay, because I want to work my way around the ball on the other side, connecting the sides, so that when it's connected over here, I still have access to the cut, okay. So that means I have to go this way. So what does that mean? Okay, so now I'm going to start putting these 2 halves together, and you'll see that the next section has 2 half tabs. So those don't glue to each other, they glue next to each other, attached to the other side of the ball. So you'd use your adhesive on the 2 half tabs. Okay, again, don't spare it. You want this basically kind of all shellacked together. All right, and then you just let those sit side by side, connecting to the other half of the ball. And I think it's easiest to check that from the outside. So I'm seeing if I've got corners lined up, you know, if my glue squishes out, I just wipe it away. That glue dries clear nicely, so it's really good for the ball. Okay, and now let's see inside. See, 1 half tab is connected to one ball and 1 half tab is connected to the other. All right, going on to the next one. I mean, this is just typical assembly. So those of you who are just looking for what's different, the only thing that's different than usual assembly is adding the extra trapezoid to the inside and then using 2 rubber bands instead of 1. Okay, that's the only thing I'm basically changing from typical assembly. And I think that product choice matters too, because I do think that you want to use, in that case, 100 or 110-pound smooth cardstock. But you know, I'm not above using whatever cardstock I have on hand if it's the right color for whatever I'm trying to make. You know, you could always use, you know, you can strengthen it by the decorator pieces that you put on. Sorry, I'm around to my other full tab, so I put the adhesive everywhere. And then now, once again, I just need to use the corners to make sure that I have it lined up nicely. So this corner, this corner, this corner, just getting rid of any glue that squishes out. Okay, now I've worked my way across the other side, so I should be able to reach into the ball and have access to the cut on this side that goes into those holes, okay? So now I'm going to grab my 2 rubber bands, get them both through that and into the other thing, okay? So then you can see, you know, and you'll just be able to feel the difference in the spring back with the 2 rubber bands. It's just amazing. It's just, you know, and it's just nice and strong, you know. It's not inverting or anything. That's because we've added that strength and we've used that good rubber band, and we have decorator pieces on all the sides. So this is great. This is ready to go. Okay, so then we have to do half tabs to complete it. So now you're going to get a little resistance, obviously, because you've got the rubber band in. So you're going to have to hold it closed while you attach your final half tabs. Okay, so getting those next to each other, flatten, look on the corners, get rid of any glue squishes. Okay. And then the last one. Now, if you are watching this on YouTube and you are not already a member, if you're a Facebook user, some people aren't Facebook users, but if you are, we have a Facebook group called the Karen Burniston Pop-Up Peeps. And when I tell you the peeps are making amazing things out of the Biddy and Surprise Ball, I mean, oh, this one came undone, hang on. You will be absolutely floored by some of the things they're making. So beyond even just the ones that we have, you know, created animal add-on sets and things for you, they're just making all sorts of clever things. So there you go. There's the Surprise Ball done with 2 number 12 soft stretch rubber bands using 100-pound smooth cardstock and adding the extra reinforcing on the inside. Okay, lovely. All right, Biddy Ball's going to be exactly the same thing. So it's just a little bit smaller. It's about 20% smaller than the Surprise Ball. But as far as assembly, it's exactly the same. And even though it's 20% smaller, those number 12 rubber bands, soft stretch, work great in this one as well. So 2 rubber bands down and into the hole. And then I need to go the opposite the cut, right, to attach the other sides. So, all right, and once again, I just do the, you know, wipe the glue away. I end up just rubbing it off of my fingers at some point, or I just grab a rag or go wash my hands in the sink after I'm done. Okay, so now I have around to the other side. Once again, I can reach in, grab my 2 rubber bands, cross into the other cut and into the hole. Okay. Once again, I can really just feel the spring back of those 2 rubber bands. It's really quite impressive. All right, and then finish it out with our half tabs. All right, so I got this done. And here you can really see the difference in size. Okay, so you can always make animals by stacking 2 surprise balls on each other, doing one or the other, you know, or doing 2 Biddy balls, and sometimes it depends on how big a card you have. So you need to have at least a 5-inch square card to hide a surprise ball in the closed position, but with a Biddy ball you can get down to 4 1/4. So if you're looking for those A2 size cards, this one's your better bet. But definitely if you want to make animals, I would say you have to own the Biddy ball to do animals, because there are a lot of animals that really require, you know, the pieces, the arms, the noses, the eyes, and things that come included in the base set. So there are add-on set, but they will make use of the pieces in the Biddy ball set. This one's designed for animals. But it's great if you have the surprise ball to be able to do on the bottom. And if you had the surprise ball and you wanted to stack 2 surprise balls together, let's say you wanted to do 2 different sizes of the same animals, it's not like you can't take the decorator pieces out of this one and use it on the surprise ball, and vice versa. What is hard to do is if you only had the surprise ball, some of the animal add-ons you can do because they have everything they need in the add-on set and they don't make any use of the, you know, the base die, but a lot of them do. So the Biddy is really something that's a good thing to have if you want to make animals. If you just want to do projects like I showed you with, I've lost my card, this one. You know, this was a class card that I taught with the surprise ball. It's not an animal at all. It's just decorated as a, you know, as a little pop-up billboard, so to speak. You know, it just has pretty elements put on it, you know. So you can definitely use it in that way. You don't always have to make animals. And if you just think that you want to do that with it, well, then you go with either. Which size is your favorite, you know? In that case, you may prefer the surprise ball because the decorator pieces that come with that one are more generic shapes that you might use on all sorts of things. So you've got stars and circles and hearts. You know, you get this cute little hanging heart that comes in the surprise ball. Okay. All right, let me grab the add-on sets. Okay, I am going to finish out the bear in a second here, but for those of you who want to bail because all you wanted to know was how to make the ball, you know, with my best practices, then I'll get you what you need, and then off you go. So these are the animal add-ons that we have. Well, the first one's not an add-on set. This is the flap enclosure. This is a great add-on die if you own either ball, because it's what allows you to do those cool flap enclosure, which you can do as a petal fold that'll fit either ball, surprise, or bitty. But then oftentimes you might just want to do a single flap to hold your card closed, because that's one thing, is you do need to be able to hold your card closed. You saw that one earlier where it's 2 flaps on the side, but just having those spacers and washers to be able to make those twine closures is a great add-on to go with either ball. So that's called Flap Enclosure 1118. Okay, then add-on sets. You can get animal add-ons 1. This adds on the ears and eyes and tails and things that would be needed to make either a pig, a fox, or a cat. Then animal add-ons 2 has got the pieces that you need to do a hippo, which can be stacked this way as well. There's different ways you can stack balls to make animals. So hippo, elephant, and giraffe, those pieces are in there. I have combined pieces out of both these sets and made a monkey. So, you know, you can definitely make different animals. Animal add-ons 3 get you the pieces to be able to make a penguin, a reindeer, or a moose. So that's a great one too. And again, so, you know, you can start mixing and matching between the sets and see what other animals you can come up with. Then we've went with this latest release, we've actually got characters now as well. So we've got character add-ons 1 that will do your Halloween items. So you can do a jack-o'-lantern, you can do a vampire, you can do like a Jack Pumpkinhead. Take the jack-o'-lantern face off and then you've got pumpkins. So lots of the pieces of making some really, really pretty fall pumpkins using just the kind of the stem pieces on their pumpkins. Then we've got one that will do Santa and Mrs. Claus, so that's character add-ons too. And once again, you can, you know, you need the bitty because you need those for some of the pieces in it, but then you can decide if you have both whether you want to use the larger ball on the bottom, or some people have made characters where they've done the larger one on top. So I know Karen Aiken from our design team made a cool bat where she put the larger ball on top. So, you know, different things. Okay, the last 20 minutes of this video is me assembling the Bitty Ball Bear and putting it into a card. You know, one nice thing about the exact packs is that we did really give you all the colors that you need for the animals. So there's a sheet of white in there for eyes, and pink for the centers of the ear, and blue for a bow tie. And all I did is just snipped a little piece out of those to be able to, you know, do those pieces at the same time in my little die cutting machine. And then I even have the cardstock stacked on top of each other for the white and the pink, so that I can get both of the centers of the ear at one time. Okay, and the same thing with the eyes, which I'm going to do out of the white ovals. I did the smaller white oval for my bear, but you have a bigger oval as well, so you can kind of experiment with which size eyes you think look the best. And then a little bow tie will be cute as all get out. And then for black pieces, you do get some black in the exact pack. That's just, you know, plain black. But boy, I sure like mirror card for eyes and noses on some of these animals and smiles. So what I've done is I've used black mirror card, added some double-sided adhesive tape to the back so that these items will become stickers. And then I'm going to do the pointed nose. That's the thing that makes the 4 little triangles that, you know, look like a trivia game. And then the small circles for the eyes, and then I'm going to do the smile. So all of these pieces just come included in the Bitty Ball die set. Oops. Now you don't have to use a small machine for that. Obviously you could use your big one. I just love using a small one for little small pieces. Okay, so now those are stickers. And one thing that I think looks nice on the eyes is to use a gel pen to add a little catch light to them. So, boy, that's really shiny. Hard time even seeing what I'm doing. I'm going to have to give that a second to dry before I do it. But, okay, that's those. Then, pieces that I've cut for the body. So I cut the set of arms like that, and I think the only thing I'm going to do to those arms is add some claw marks out on the end with a black pen. So black, 3 little black lines like this ought to do it. Okay. And then for feet, I like to use the ears. So these are the bear ears, and they double as feet. We use these as feet for a lot of the different characters. And for those, once again, I'm just going to add kind of those claw lines with a black pen. Okay. And I'll do 3, something like this. Okay, so starting with, you know, with a bear, I think that it looks the best if you do, I mean, it's up to you. I like to do a pointy nose on a bear. So what I do is I go around my smaller ball, which is going to be the head, and I look for the point that I like the best. And it's not going to be that one because there's a little bit of a gap in it, which I can actually take that gap out a little bit by, see, working one side under the other. And then it tends to bring it together. But that's not going to be my favorite. So I think this is probably my favorite point right here. It's got a nice, you know, connection. I've got the least glue goobers on it. I wasn't the most cleanly with that, was I? Okay, so let me start with the nose. So the nose is going to be these 4 little triangles. Since I'm doing a pointy nose, I can't, it can't be in one piece because it's got to be able to open. So what you do is you take the tip of the pointy thing right there to the point that you've decided is going to be the nose of the bear. And you can do that in the closed position if it's easier to line up. So I go all the way out to the, so then there's the nose of my bear, okay, coming together at that little point. All right, then for eyes, I'm going to do the ovals and those round circles. Hopefully my white gel pen has dried. Like, I don't know, there. And that is one nice thing, is that you really are in control of how you style these. So you may find your bear would look cuter with wider eyes, or, you know, maybe you're going to do circles instead of ovals, or whatever you want to do. Okay, then the ears. The ears, like I said, there's that one that we use for the shoes, but it does have a score line in it for when you're using it as a bear ear, and you fold the score line under to attach it to the head, and then you've got those ear centers that also come in the Bitty Ball set. Well, it's just one, so you got to cut it twice, or you can cut through 2 layers. And then that fits in the center there. Okay, and then it's going to be the little fold under tabs that are used to attach those ears to the bear. And again, it's kind of up to you. I kind of think they look nice here, sort of diagonally on the front like this, you know. But you could experiment. You might choose to put them over here. I don't know, that looks pretty cute though. Look at that right there. Ooh, I might change my mind. Ooh, I don't know if I can change my mind. Hang on, I'm not changing my mind. But I did like them on the side like that too. So we're going to stick with what I did so I don't have to redo any decorator pieces. Oh my goodness. So that does look cute. But you saw they did look kind of cute on the side too. All right, let me give those a good press in the closed position. Okay, so here is the face. The only thing that's missing now is the smile. Now, if you were doing decorating an animal with a flat front, then you can just put the smile on wherever. But with the bear, we're going to have to cut the smile in half so that it can, you know, it can open up. So we just need the scissors. Okay, that pleases me. All right, so there's the head of my bear. And then with the body, you kind of have a choice as to whether or not you want to do pointy head, flat stomach, or pointy head, pointy stomach. I'm going to do pointy head, pointy stomach, but see, you could offset like this if you wanted to. That's completely up to you. Okay, but since I'm doing pointy head, pointy stomach, I'm going to line up point with point. And then I'm just going to put glue all over the bottom here. And because I have the hexagon on, it really is just the hexagon that's going to attach. I mean, you can try and put glue all the way out to the edges, but you're not going to get that glue to get down, you know, those edges over 2 layers of cardstock. So you really just need it on the hexagon. And then once again, choosing my favorite point. And since I'm using 2 different size balls, it's best to do this by flattening so that you can look and make sure that all your spokes are lined up and so that you have an even amount of overhang, you know, between the 2. And then there we go. So now we've got the bear head on the bear body. We've got that brad on the bottom to put it in a card. So now we just need body decorations. So we have arms. Oh, all right, this may need a clip for a little bit to set up. You definitely don't want the head to go flying off while you're doing that. So what I wanted to show is people have asked before, like, what if you want to have the belly of the animal be a different color? Like, let's say I wanted to go down to the lighter one and have like a belly down here. So then what I need to do is I need to take 4 decorator trapezoids, right? This, and this will be the belly, but then I want to round them. So you could do that by hand. You know, this one should be over here because it has a corner missing. Or you can look in your die set, like for instance the arms, that has a good swoop, right? So let's see, I want this one to swoop this way. I could put it on like this, and I'm going to need 2 to go that way. So let's put it across 2. Okay, so that they'll line up. I probably wouldn't do more than 2 at a time. Okay, so see, it's going to cut this swoop out of that trapezoid because I tucked it through so it won't cut that edge of the trapezoid. The piece that I want is this piece. Okay, and now I've got these 2. Right, and then I just need to do it again. I'm trying to kind of match the swoop if I can. This time, like this. Let's see if we can use this as a guide to kind of get the same swoop. Probably something like that, right? All right, and then take this and send it through. Okay, and now we have 4 swoopy corners of a trapezoid that will line up to create the, you know, the lighter belly. Okay, I mean, and I could do it like if I want it to be long and skinny instead of wide, I could turn it a half turn and do it like this. Make sense? So it's kind of whichever way you think looks best. Okay, so there we go. One, you know, round belly. So if you want to, that's like another thing you can do on the animals to make their bellies a different color. And then, you know, where you put the arms is kind of up to you, whether you want to have them, you know, here or maybe they're out on the side. You know, I think maybe out on the side would give the appearance of a more rotund bear, one that has perhaps gone to many a picnic basket. Smarter than your average bear. Okay, so let's put those here. So I just used adhesive where they're going to touch, you know, and then they can extend over a little bit. And then bear ears, 4 feet on the bottom, kind of wherever you want them. So just make sure you don't glue down your brad. I think maybe we're going to go out like this and like this. I think that's cute. Okay. All right, 1 double stacked bear. Oh, well, wait, you've got the bow tie. So the only thing about doing a bow tie when you have the split is that, you know, it has to be able to flatten. So let's see. I think, yeah, let's do it that way. I think if you just use your adhesive out on the ends of the bow part, okay, so not even the tails, just out on the ends of the bow like this, since we're doing a pointy animal. Like if you were doing a flat front animal, you just glue it right there, it'd be fine. But we're trying to get it to straddle this spot that has to open. So if I flatten just the bottom, the body, then I can glue that across the seam, and then it'll just, oh, I'm sorry, gotta give it a second. It'll fold it up the middle, essentially, as it opens, so that it'll work in both the closed position and the open position. Okay, so when you're doing a pointy animal, you kind of got to figure out a way to use the bow. Or I guess I could have, you know, cut it in half, and then glued on each side, but that seems to work pretty well. Oh, and I forgot to show a little trick too. Since I'm using mirror card and it has a white core, I'm seeing like a fair bit of white in between where it comes together. One thing you can do is you can close the bear up and then take a black marker. So I'm using a Copic, but it wouldn't have to be a Copic. And actually just color the edge. You could even color on the ball itself where it joins, right? And then look at the difference between that side of the nose and this side of the nose. So you can always do that. Okay, now look, see? So that's just a way to make it, you know, so you wouldn't have quite so much white showing in your nose. Okay, so here's my cute little bear, and he's ready for a card. Okay, I finished it up. I decided to do a little bit larger card. So I did a 6x6 square card and then kind of created a little scene on the front, made this little elastic closure. Inside is the bear that I just made, and of course he's carrying his little picnic basket and a pie, sitting on a picnic blanket. You've got the little trail of ants, you know, our word hello. So let me walk you through the other dies that I used, because one thing about our brand is all of the dies really work nicely together. And there's just so many fun ways to combine them. And kind of my rule of thumb is, goodness, if you've invested in a die set, obviously you want to have lots of ideas for using it. Now, could you simplify this card? Absolutely. You know, just pick your favorite elements. But I just kind of wanted to show how well everything goes together. Okay, let's start here on the front of the card. For the closure, I used that flap enclosure I was talking about earlier. I used the actual flap and the spacers to build up a little distance for my closure. But then instead of using the washer that comes in the set and doing two, you know, where I could do twine between them, I decided just to use a decorative brad that was holding on a big loop of elastic. And then that elastic can go all the way around the card and then loop around that same brad. So just another closure idea. Okay, continuing on with the front of the card, I think it's fun to take, we have small animals too. And it's fun when you have a small animal that matches your big animal, because you can use the small one on the front. So I used our winter animals, which includes a bear, which you can style as a polar bear, but I just styled it as a brown bear to match the one that's on the inside. And then he's sipping some lemonade. And all of those picnic elements came out of a die set we have called Picnic Elements. So it has the blanket and the pie and the French bread and the lemonade glass and the straw and the basket and the ants. Now I wanted a big one for inside. So for that one, I actually used 4 and kind of cut off the fringe and, you know, made it where I could patch them together and not have it look, you know, like 4 individual blankets. So it would look like one big one. This is our Hello die set. This is one of our newer ones. It includes a shadow as well and a little stencil feature to be able to put stitch lines on the word hello. So I did that with a white gel pen. Here's the picnic blanket again, but instead of using the overlay that has all the holes in it, I just used one of our crosshatch squares instead, the closest one to fit on that blanket, and then that way I can write my personal greeting in that spot. Okay, and then of course he spins around. I don't know if I said that. Anyway. All right, then on the front of the card, again, more picnic elements, and then this here is from our word set for Just a Note. So this is kind of a fun one, so you can say, just a note to say, just wanted to say, popping up to say, just popping up to say. And of course you have some inside, you know, hooray, hi, whatever, but it's really fun. Just popping up to say happy birthday, just popping up, you know, to say whatever, in this case, hello. And then the last one that I used, definitely optional, I just think it's kind of fun to add a decorative border around the inside of a card and the outside. So I used this one from our Border Blends party, and I went around the outside here and on the front as well. Just, you know, add a little detail on the perimeter. So there you have it. There's my fun pop-up bear card. Thanks for sticking with me. This was a long one today. That's what happens when I record them live. I can't edit everything out and, you know, make it go tighter. But anyway, I hope you got some good tips for using our pop-up ball dies. This is Karen Burniston. I'll see you next time. If you click on the website link, you'll go to KarenBurniston.com, where you can find out information about purchasing these dies, as well as links to all my other social media accounts. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel and check out some of my other videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.